Hanavsky Pavilion is dominant building which is built in neo-baroque style. It used to be a presentation pavilion of Komar Ironworks. It is named by Prince Wilhelm Hanavsky and it is the first building in Prague which is built of concrete, iron and glass.
Castle steps is the most frequently way to Prague Castle and lead out from street Podbruskou to the eastern gate of Prague Castle. From Old Castle steps is a wonderful view to lesser quarters rooftops.
Staré zámecké schody, the old castle staircase, it's a really famous passage to Prague Castle, which was walked on by many famous celebrities. There is a song about it, written by Karel Hašler. Karel Hašler was a Czech famous singer and songwriter, actor, lyricist, theatre and film director and composer. He created more than 300 compositions in his life and many of which became too popular folk songs. He was murdered in the Mauthausen concentration camp by Nazis in the Second World War. He wrote the famous song Po starých zámeckých schodech.
Každý večer Pana chodí, za ruku se s Bohem hodí, srdce má znamené. Každý večer Pana chodí, za ruku se s Bohem hodí, srdce má znamené.
Zvedni to. Jo. Jo.
Prague Castle is the most important and famous castle in Czech Republic and it has been registered in Guinness Book of Records as the largest ancient castle in the world. There are few historic castles, church buildings and picturesque lanes. First buildings were built in the 9th century and since then the small place grown up into the largest city in Czech Republic. Prague Castle were residence of Czech kings and two Holy Roman emperors. Since the end of the First World War, it has been used as the seat of Czech Republic. This is Basilica of St. George, and this is St. Mike Cathedral.
St. Vitus Cathedral is one of the most important monuments in Prague. It's also main Prague cathedral. There are relics of patrons and noblemen inside. There are also coronations of Czech kings. It was built in 1344 until 20th century.
Champions, I can't believe it's running. No, it was supposed to be my pentakill. What did you do to me? I killed and no one to fear for champions. I can't believe it's right.
Wait a minute!
This is Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, first president of Czechoslovakia. He founded our state in 1918.
What did you do to me? I killed and no one to fear for champions. I can't believe it's rolling.
Můžeš.
This is Prague or Loreta. We are on Loretanské Square. We can see a tower with chime. Behind it is chapel of Panna Maria. Around it are arched corridors, and in the first floor are subjects of Gothic, Baroque and Renaissance treasure. Street is one of the most interesting and popular places in Prague. Long time ago, it was a part of the Royal Road. Each house has its own house sign and it's called after that. For example, the house by the three violins. However, now the street is named after the famous writer and poet Jan Neruda, who lived in the house by the two sons.
St. Nicholas Church on Malostranské Square is considered as the most artistic building in the Czech Republic. Church was being built about 100 years. In the church there are four the most interesting things: organ, frescoes, cupola and belfry. This belfry was used as fire and spy tower.
Chains of love, chains of love.
Kampa is a small artificial island near the river Vltava in Prague, and behind me you can see the river Čertovka. Its area is approximately 2.5 hectares. The oldest written mentions about Kampa dates back to 1169. From the 17th to the 20th century were held a lot of most famous pottery markets.
Theatre. The National Theatre is beautiful neo-Renaissance building. The whole nation raised money for the construction. The theatre was finished in 1881 and it was destroyed by fire just after its opening. Again, the theatre was finished 2 years later in 1883 by Libuše by Bedřich Smetana.
The oldest bridge across the river Vltava in Prague. It was built in 14th century. It is built by stone. The bridge is decorated by statues of different colors. The important one is Matyáš Bernard Brown. Charles Bridge is important way into the center of the city.
Statue of Charles IV, the most important Czech king in history. He lived in 14th century and he founded the Charles University, the oldest university in Central Europe.
World famous astronomical clock in the Czech Republic, especially here in Prague, is situated in the Old Town Square. This clock called the Prague Orloj. Their clockmakers are Mikuláš from Kodan and Jan Schindler. Their function started in 1402. During 1470, Master Hanuš built the most famous statues on his memory, 12 apostolates. And the most important one is the skeleton. This site is spike of the culture in Europe and also was part of the list of UNESCO.
Now we are standing in the middle of the old town square, and we are standing just nearby from the Jan Hus or John Hus Memorial. And John Hus was an influential religious thinker, reformer, and philosopher who fought against the dishonesty in the church authorities. The huge monument shows also Hussite warriors and also Protestants were forced to leave the country into exile 200 years after the Hus.
It's a classicist building built in the 18th century by Antonín Hofenecker. At first it was called Nostitz Theater after a Count František Antonín Nostitz Rýnek. Then later it was bought by Czech nobility and renamed to Estate Theater. In 1787 the first night of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's opera Don Giovanni took place there, and this opera was composed for Prague. The gate was built in the 18th century. It served as a gunpowder storage. The gate is built in Gothic style. At the gate are statues of Czech kings. The tower is 65 meters high. Today the powder gate is used as a museum.
Concert House, originally called the Ceremonial House of capital city of Prague, is one of the most famous Art Nouveau buildings in Prague and stands onto the Republic Square. Today is used mainly for ceremonial purposes. Concert House was built between years 1905 and 1912 on the basis of winning the architectural competition by architects Antony Balšánek and Antony Polívka. On its decoration took part also some other Czech famous architects such as Mikuláš Aleš or František Ženíšek. Its interior includes several rooms. The largest one is called Smetana Hall, and it's used as a concert hall for approximately 1,200 listeners. Today is used as a concert site for Czech Festival of Classical Music Prague Spring.
Street na Příkopě. This street belongs between the most famous and best known street in Prague. In the last century, it was one of the most busiest Prague thoroughfares. Nowadays, it has used as a pedestrian zone.
We are standing on Wenceslas Square. There you can see National Museum, and now we are in front of Josef Václav Myslek's statue of Saint Wenceslas from 1912. It's one of the most famous sculptures in Prague. It's from bronze and it consists of 5 patrons. The most important of them is Saint Wenceslas, who stays on massive plinth. It was made by Josef Václav Myslek. He worked on it for 30 years and he cooperated with 2 more sculptures. It's a symbol of Czech state and it's also a good meeting point in Prague.
I will fly.
The State Opera is one of the most important and most beautiful music scene in Europe. It is part of the Nation Theatre of the Czech Republic. The State Opera was founded in the second half of the 19th century. Many famous artists performed there, for example Richard Strauss, Enrico Caruso, Gustav Mahler and many other famous people. Every year, a very well-known music festival of classics, Prague Spring, is held there.